Holly Simonson. I'm a licensed psychologist. I work for Northern Pines Mental Health. I am a clinical supervisor for the Children's Therapeutic Services and Supports program, and then I also am Northern Pines' clinical training specialist. So it means I do a lot of teaching. I think it's important for everybody to understand that mental illness, as we talk about it and make it okay, is as common as silver cars. So we're talking about 1 in 5 people suffering from some type of mental illness. When we look at those 1 in 5 people, it's important to understand that about 20%, 19.1% of those are going to have a diagnosis of anxiety. In our country this year, over 40 million people will be diagnosed with some type of anxiety disorder. It is now the most common mental health diagnosis for people to be diagnosed with. So we see it. Every day we see it in ourselves and in those we interact with. Regardless of what your diagnosis is, which specific type of anxiety disorder you're diagnosed with, the common factor running through them is worries, centering on different things that you can't control. And understand everything that's psychological is biological. So those things that play out in our emotions play out in our bodies physically. So it plays out in things like racing heart, shaking hands, shortness of breath. As you face worries, we try to avoid things that may trigger more worry, and so we withdraw. And so what you'll see in a workplace is people who might pass up opportunities for promotion, pass up opportunities for special projects, pass up opportunities to get together with coworkers, for even things that are fun. So anxiety really debilitates people by making their world small. Diagnostically, when I look to diagnose somebody with anxiety, one of the things we look for is physical health complaints, either headache or stomach ache, that don't appear to have a physical cause. In reality, they do have a physical cause, because anxiety, that worry, is actually activation of the central nervous system. And so those headaches and stomach aches are a byproduct or after effect of what happens when we're going into fight or flight, which is what anxiety is. So we need to educate ourselves so we can understand that yes, those headaches or those stomach aches don't appear real, but they really are. And there are things we can do to help them. The second thing I think that we could think about in terms of supporting somebody is remembering not to be really pushy, but always being there for them to listen. And then as we're listening, to not rush to judgment or try to solve. We as human beings want to be there. Tell me what to do. I want to help you. I want to help you. I want to help you. And so sometimes we offer solutions that we think are really helpful, but in that position, they may or may not be. So the most important thing to do is to just be there to listen. Next, I think, as we talked about earlier, anxiety is an isolating or shrinking disorder, so things get smaller. So I think it's important for us to involve our coworkers. Be there to support them. Understand they might not want to go for the full employee event, but maybe they can come and have a cup of coffee or a beer with you before the whole event starts, and then they can go. But keep pulling them in. Maybe they can take one, they don't want to take responsibility for a whole project, but maybe if the two of you do it together, they can take one part. Keep trying to make their world a bigger place. Make sure you let them know that you care. Empathy and caring is the big thing. Because of the stigma associated with mental health and mental illness, lots of times people will feel very shameful and really kind of like they're to blame for their illness, which in truth, we know that anxiety is caused through a variety of factors, one of which is biology, and we're not responsible for our biology. So I think it's really, really important that we start to treat mental health challenges the same way we treat physical health challenges, and always, always, always be empathetic. We know that about 38% of people who are diagnosed with anxiety don't get the help that they need. So in this case, one of the things you can do to help your coworkers is to support them getting help from appropriate resources, because I can tell you we've got wonderful, wonderful success stories in treating anxiety. But oftentimes the biggest hurdle is seeking out and gaining the help that you need.